For years, one thing was always true about smartphones. Apple's chip was faster than Android's chip, every year. Without exception, the A-series chip beat Snapdragon every single time. Android fans had better specs on paper, more cameras, bigger batteries, more RAM, but the chip, Apple won, always. 4 days ago, a leaked AnTuTu benchmark score dropped. Qualcomm's next chip, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro, scored 4,835,412 points on AnTuTu V11. For context, current Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 flagship devices score between 4 and 4.6 million points. This new chip is 23% faster, and it's built on a 2nm fabrication process, the same chip generation that powers the iPhone 18 Pro. For the first time in smartphone history, Android and Apple are on the same chip playing field. Let me give you the context that makes this genuinely shocking. In 2020, Apple's A14 chip was 2 full generations ahead of Snapdragon. In 2022, Apple's A16 was still 1.5 generations ahead. In 2024, the gap was finally closing, but Apple still led. Now in 2026, both chips are 2 nanometers. Both chips are built by TSMC. Both chips use the most advanced manufacturing process on the planet. This is not a small milestone. This is the moment Android has been chasing for half a decade. Here's the honest comparison. Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro, 4,835,412 AnTuTu points. CPU score, 1,368,930. GPU score, 1,854,826. Powered by Adreno 850. Apple A20 Pro and the iPhone 18 Pro. AnTuTu doesn't officially benchmark iPhones the same way, but independent testing labs translate Apple's performance, and the A20 Pro sits in a comparable range. Here's the important caveat though. This is a leaked benchmark, unverified, pre-production hardware. Real retail devices almost always score differently. Qualcomm reveals the chip officially at Snapdragon Summit, September 22nd in Hawaii. Until then, treat this as the most exciting leak of 2026, not a final verdict. Here's where it gets real for buyers. The Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro is expected to power some of the biggest Android flagships of late 2026. Xiaomi 18 series, expected September/October 2026. iQOO U16, expected late September 2026. OnePlus 16, expected October 2026. Honor Magic 9 Pro, confirmed September 28th. China launch, Samsung Galaxy S27 Ultra, early 2027. Here's the part nobody is talking about. Reports suggest the Gen 6 Pro variant may be reserved for only the most expensive flagship phones. Not every Android phone in 2026 gets this chip. Only the top tier, the $1,000 plus devices. That's the same strategy Apple uses with the Pro chip, and it's the most Apple thing Qualcomm has ever done. Here's the honest answer. Chip parity doesn't mean phone parity. Apple's advantage was never just the chip. It's the integration, chip, software, and hardware designed together. The A20 Pro isn't just fast in benchmarks. It's fast in how iOS uses it, optimizes it, sustains it. Snapdragon being 2 nanometers and scoring similar numbers doesn't automatically make Android as smooth as iPhone. But, and this is important, it removes Apple's biggest hardware excuse. When Android phones lag or stutter in 2027, nobody can blame the chip anymore. The gap has closed. The excuses are gone. Android software has to step up now. In part 2, we rank every phone getting the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro. Xiaomi versus OnePlus versus iQOO versus Samsung. Which one is worth buying? And which ones to skip? Subscribe so you don't miss it. And the big question, does chip parity mean you should finally switch from iPhone to Android? Drop it in the comments. See you in part 2.